I was going to say we're not in Tijuana.
Well, good evening, everybody, which means shut up.
Hi!
Robert from Broward House is with us, and Gordon from Broward House. There's a lot of Broward House employees. And, yeah, Broward College is here tonight, too.
Woohoo!
This is the Broward
Broward
Corner.
College, because I'm a student.
That's right.
Oh, that's right. I had forgotten that. How's that working out for you?
It's fine. I'm not taking a class with Dr. Houser, so it's going fine.
Then you're probably doing well.
Yeah.
Well, you're probably going to prove tonight in Queer News Tonight why you should take a class with the English professor. Lots of news. Well, welcome to Queer News Tonight, the world's first and only LGBTQ plus daily evening news. It's time to queer up the news. It's 8 p.m. Thursday, October 7th, 2021, and we are literally out of the closet and into the headlines. So many of your important stories we're going to tell this evening on Queer News Tonight.
This is the world's first live daily LGBTQ evening news show, literally out of the closet and into the headlines on Queer News Tonight with Al Ferguson.
Well, thank you for joining Queer News Tonight. This is the world's first and only unedited live LGBTQ plus evening news show. Whatever happens, you will see it. Queer News Tonight is supported by viewers like you. We are part of the Happening Out television network, Hotspots Magazine, and WMEG Events. Hotspots is celebrating 36 years of the LGBTQ plus experience. Merged, we bring you the best of LGBTQ plus news, entertainment, and support of our community.
I'm your anchor at Queer News Tonight, Al Ferguson. Let's welcome anchor Dr. Tai Houser. He is an associate professor of English and Humanities at Broward College. Additionally, he teaches for extended periods of time at international colleges in China, India, Spain, and Bolivia. Good evening, Tai.
Good evening, Al. I'd love to say it's nice to see you. Let's welcome anchor Gordon Woodworth III. They identify as genderqueer, non-binary, and they are a Gen Zer, one of those kids. Gordon also runs an alt-space VR channel called Pagans in Virtual Reality. Good evening, Gordon.
Glad to see you're not bitter, Ty. Well, let's welcome anchor Robert Hadley. Robert is a care guide at Broward House, focusing on testing and outreach. He is also an event specialist for WMEG. He currently serves as vice chair of Wilton Manor's Community Affairs Advisory Board and a member of the Central Area Neighborhood Association and past board member of worldwide cyclist organization Positive Peddlers. His affirmation blog, It's Not About Me, talks about topics of self-care, self-awareness, and living an upbeat life. www.youraffirmed.blogspot.com. Good evening, Robert.
And good evening. It's nice to work with you here as well, Gordon. Tonight, this evening, we begin the queer headlines. The LGBT plus community in South Florida and across America is very diverse. Our community across the world is vast. And here are the bullet points of the queer news for tonight, Thursday, August 7th.
October 7th.
That too.
We are going to begin by queering up entertainment. Netflix is under fire tonight for Dave Chappelle's transphobic new comedy special. Last night, we reported on the new Dave Chappelle Netflix special where he proudly announces, quote, "I'm Team TERF." Many people are calling out Netflix for even allowing the show to stream online, including some of their show producers. Dear White People executive producer Jacqueline Moore, who is trans herself, announced that she would no longer work with Netflix as, quote, "they continue to put out and profit from blatantly and dangerously transphobic content," end quote.
Who would have thought we go from, I'm Rick James, bitch, to I'm just a bitch?
Yeah.
This isn't the first time he's come under fire, and I just wonder when Netflix is going to make the smart business decision and cut him off. This is the second time they've come after the gay community after they got rid of Sense8.
This is very frustrating because Netflix is it's the new logo, and we love it at home, watch all the time. And Chappelle, I used to love him; it was very funny. But this has turned the corner. Even one of the engineers at Netflix said, oh, it's got to be fun to come out as trans. It's like puberty all over again. This is disgusting.
Yeah, that's a really harsh line. One of the things I'm curious about is I generally don't think that Chappelle is homophobic. This is a very strategic and pointed attack on the trans community. Now, I understand our broad labeling of LGBTQ, but do you think that he is homophobic in our community, or do you agree with the idea that it's a strategic attack?
I don't think it matters. You come for one of us, you come for the whole
Yeah,
community.
at this point, he's making the last straw that's funny. This is no longer funny. It stopped being funny at that point.
It's not his place to joke about that either.
Yeah.
There is one point that he makes that I think is a point that needs to be discussed and brought to light, which is shall we say, the plight or the plight of racism against Black people and the plight of hate against LGBTQ. It's equal. It is something that needs to be addressed equally, but he takes it down a different path when he sort of says that, one is worse than the other.
Yeah, and everything is subject to satire, and comedy is comedy, but again, there's a time and a place and a way to do these things, and it's also, you have to consider who's talking.
We're reporting on the Chappelle special on Netflix. He has come out verbally in support of J.K. Rowling, and that is a powerful observation to make. To echo in why not only is he a TERF, he makes a joke of it, because to call it a team is a reference that he is not only saying it loudly, but he's also saying it proudly, which makes the issue that's going on with him all the more difficult for all of us.
Okay, well, let's queer up health. Outrage in Spain as gay woman diagnosed at Spanish hospital with homosexuality.
Oh my goodness, what a disease.
I hate that.
A family and an LGBT collective in southeast Spain are demanding answers and an apology after a 19-year-old gay woman who visited a gynecologist over a menstrual condition was diagnosed with homosexuality. On Monday, the woman went to an appointment at the Reina Sofia Hospital in the city of Murcia. After being examined, she was given a piece of paper that included the line, quote, "current illness, homosexual," end quote. The mother and daughter brought the matter to the attention of the local LGBT collective, Galactico, which has lodged a formal complaint with Murcia's regional government, the regional health ministry, and the regional health service.
Man, wouldn't you love to be able to call off work because you're too homosexual?
It wouldn't work for us, Gordon. It wouldn't work
Too
for us.
fabulous to get up in the morning. I can't do it.
So is there publicist Chappelle?
Yeah, right.
Oh,
Right.
well, I think probably part of this is just the system hasn't caught up with the reality, because I think there probably is a good medical reason to recognize it within the notes of a patient, but where you put it, there's not like a special box for it yet.
Yeah.
And that's what needs
Actually,
to be.
that's not true, because there is a special box of where you put it. That's
And you would know.
Well,
why don't
next,
we?
Yeah, no, someone save Al from that joke.
yeah, please. Next, we're going to queer up gay culture. Drag Race
Please.
winners reunited for epic LGBTQ+ History Month tribute. As part of VH1's #LGBTQ Herstory Month project, 5 winners from the RuPaul's Drag Race Winner's Circle, Season 1 BB Sahara Benet, All-Stars 4 winner Monet Exchange, Season 11's winner Evie Oddly, Season 12's Jada Essence Hall, and Season 13's Simone all got together for a stunning photo shoot and to have important discussions on why it's vital that the queer community honors the heroes who paved the way for where we are now. The very first RuPaul's Drag Race winner, BB, said, quote, "It's very important for young queer people to get to learn their history because we can't lose our culture. That's what's going to help you move forward and the generations after you. The fight is still there. We're not done. We still have a lot of work to do, and we can't do that work without knowing what the past was," end quote.
So, Al, do you still get paid for spin-off specials, or is it only for the show itself?
Stop revealing secrets here.
I like this story because it relates also to Pose, which indicates the ballroom things in New York, and we were very much in tune with that in my house. So I like this is actually touching on the story, and so in the Pose touched on the stories as well.
I haven't watched it yet, obviously. I'm looking forward to it, and I'm going to. The pictures that I've seen are beautiful. And of course, we like to see a collective cross-section of seasons of queens interact with each other. That they've been very successful in doing that. Broadly, however, does it surprise you, because there's stuff being written now about this, that LGBTQ History Month of October is not being discussed very much. And like what we see at other events, TDOR or certainly June Pride, there's not a whole lot. And a lot of people are not realizing that October is National LGBTQ History Month because of October National Coming Out Day. And there hasn't been much on National Coming Out Day.
Can I add that bigger than that is Metropolitan Community Church was founded in October 6th, 53 years ago.
Yeah,
so October is and that was huge, world changing.
Yes.
This Assumption Cathedral is part of Metropolitan Community Churches.
What is that saying about us that we're not this month really talking about our history in the way that perhaps we should?
We prefer Hocus Pocus and Halloween?
Yeah.
I think also we just have failed to capture the narrative. And, you know, it's one of the things I think the disconnect between the generations in the gay community. There's a different understanding of the community and of our history because there's two completely different lived life experiences.
Well, we're still early in the month. Let's make a commitment here at Queer News tonight to make sure that we're propelling our history in National LGBTQ History Month.
Now they've done that, let's clear up some politics. The Trump supporter who destroyed the Rainbow Crosswalk demanded jury trial. Alexander Jarrett, the Florida man who destroyed the Pride Crosswalk in Delray Beach, during a birthday celebration for Donald Trump's birthday, rejected a plea deal and demanded a jury trial. He's charged with criminal mischief and reckless driving with property damage. But hate crime charges couldn't be added under state law because the city was the victim, and cities don't have a sexual orientation. If convicted, Jarrett could face up to 6 years in jail plus restitution to restore the crosswalk for about $7,000.
Isn't it interesting that this is what a supporter thought he should do for the birthday of the most pro-LGBTQ president in American history?
Right.
I just love a trial by your peers. I can't wait to see what peers are selected for this.
I was thinking the same thing. He's hoping that it's in the El Margo residents all are part of that jury.
Yeah, yeah. And it's interesting because Delray Beach is closer to Wilton Manors than it is to Palm Beach Island.
Exactly.
So likely this is not going to be a successful attempt. It's kind of a delaying attempt. Do you think this story, in terms of keeping it alive and that we report on it, do you think we have an obligation or that we should be talking about this? Or is this such a minor issue that we...
I don't want to feed into that hysteria of the former president.
Yeah.
And I'm not to hear about stories anymore. Anything that refers to the former president's name and antics, I don't want to hear.
Yeah.
It really is building that story as opposed to stories of what's our history about, what's our betterness about. As my blog means, find the best things in our lives.
Yeah.
So I would not to hear about that story again, except for when he's convicted.
Yeah, it's interesting. Well, next, let's queer up the world. History is made as Miss Universe Philippines crowns its first LGBTQ plus winner. Queer folks in Manila have a new reason to celebrate this week as Miss Universe Philippines has crowned its first ever LGBTQ plus winner, Beatrice Luigi Gomez. During the preliminary interview, Gomez, who represented Cebu City, shared that she had been in a long-term same-sex relationship with her partner. She also expressed her confidence that the Philippines was ready for an out and proud member of the LGBTQ+ to represent them at the Miss Universe pageant. As it turns out, she was correct.
Love this. This is great.
Yeah.
To the Philippines to start breaking ground.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good news story. It's a very Catholic country, and it's good to hear that kind of refreshment comes out of that.
Yeah.
Good
This
thinking.
is making our history, right?
Yeah. Well, and the Philippines, I just say this from my RuPaul experience, the Philippines has an uber embracement of drag race and drag queens. So Miss Philippines is not that, but the pageantry system in the Philippines is widely embraced.
Well, that is our queer headlines for today. So let's catch up on the LGBTQ plus news surrounding COVID-19 with our special segment called Quarantine Quickies.
Queer News Tonight has reported on coronavirus on every news broadcast since January 6th, 2020. Tonight we report that as of today, more than 3,145,000 LGBTQ plus Americans have contracted COVID-19.
Queer News Tonight remembers the more than 50,000 LGBTQ plus Americans that have died from the coronavirus.
But the news is improving because as of today, more than 398 million vaccination doses have been administered in the U.S.
And that is our pandemic news for tonight. Next, we report on our partnership with Sunshine Cathedral, the world's largest queer church here in Fort Lauderdale. We're broadcasting from our permanent set here at Sunshine in supporting that partnership. Happening Out Television Network broadcasts the largest LGBTQ plus religious live broadcast in the world, as more than 30,000 watch every Sunday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern. Watch this.
My name is Jasmine Price Lords, Florida Mother of the House of Lords, and Sunshine Cathedral is my queer church.
Well, now we finish tonight's queer news headlines with a segment we call LGBTQ plus Flash News. In LGBTQ plus Flash News, the first reveal of Netflix's gay Christmas rom-com, Single All the Way. Netflix just released teaser images of their much-awaited gay rom-com, Single All the Way, directed by Tony winner Michael Mayer and starring a stacked cast that includes Michael Urie, Philemon Chambers, Luke McFarlane, Barry Bostwick, Jennifer Robinson, and comedy screen legends Jennifer Coolidge and Kathy Najimy. Single All the Way tells the story of a gay man named Peter who is, quote, desperate to avoid his family's judgment about his perpetual single status, end quote. I love that it's not about gay, but his single status, according to the film's official description about the film. And I love that it's not focusing on gay, but it is about a gay character.
I see what's not going to turn the ho-ho-ho into this Christmas special.
Right?
So I understand that Cher's going to be recording jingle balls for the opening
Yes.
track.
Yeah.
Work. The main characters aside, it was a gay flick already as soon as Jennifer Coolidge was in it.
Of course. LGBTQ plus Flash News. Elvira featured LGBTQ plus fans. She feared LGBTQ plus fans would hate her for coming out late. Last week, Queer News Tonight reported that Cassandra Peterson, the 70-year-old actress behind Elvira, came out as a lesbian. The LGBTQ plus community has shown nothing but love and excitement as one of our entertainment icons joins our ranks. On ET Canada, Elvira said of her LGBTQ plus fans, quote, "They have been fantastic. They have been wonderful. I mean, I worried about them because I've always had a big LGBTQ fan base, and I worried that they would think I was a hypocrite and had been lying to them," end quote. I think I'm the only one who hears the word Elvira and thinks of the Oak Ridge Boys.
Oh, child.
Sorry.
My heart's on fire.
Just dating yourself. Oh, goth gays finally get a win. Finally with this one.
Finally. You know, I love Elvira, and that side-by-side picture shows it. She has an iconic character, and when she takes the makeup off, nobody knows who she is. She has the best of both worlds, now including being a lesbian.
Then there's no shame about coming out or expressing yourself so late in life. That's why Frankie and Grace is such a popular show. It's coming out at any age. We're happy for you. Welcome to the party.
Yeah.
LGBTQ plus flash news. Drag Race's Trixie Motel reveals details of Palm Springs Motel. Queer News Tonight previously reported on the announcement of the new Discovery Plus series, Trixie Motel, starring Trixie Motel. Now more details have emerged. The show follows Trixie as she renovates a previously shut down 7-room motel in the heart of Palm Springs. The hotel will open late this year, and the show, which will be in 8 one-hour-long episodes, will premiere next year. They should have called this Barbie Builds a Hotel because the gays didn't have enough places to raw dog in Palm Springs already.
I'm sorry, just a moment. I'm on with Kayak. The Trixie Motel, the room is $840 a night?
I thought it was $69. I was hoping this would be sponsored by Mattel Toys.
So my boyfriend is a huge fan of hers, so I think I know where our next vacation is going to be.
Yeah. I think it's interesting you said boyfriend. That is today's news for the LGBTQ plus community on the world's first and only daily LGBTQ plus evening news show. Is our community important to you?
Then help us by liking and subscribing. Ring the bell for updates. Share this news with your friends and family.
Post this broadcast in the many groups you're a member of. Tonight's stories about our community deserve the attention of your family and friends.
Queer News Tonight is the only live LGBTQ plus digital television in the world that brings out of the closet and into the headlines, into your room. This needs your support.
Into your room?
Yes,
wow,
into your room.
Robert, all right.
I just say bedroom or living room, but I don't know where you are.
Okay, all right. Oh.
And I've been to your room, I don't want to go back.
Right. Well, if our community is to grow, we must tell our stories and bring them to the attention of the broader world. This is the only place in the world that tells these LGBTQ plus stories in motion and sound. And that is the passion of the Happening Out Television Network and Queer News Tonight. I'm your anchor, Al Ferguson, and on behalf of these LGBTQ plus reporters, the anchors of Queer News Tonight, including Dr. Tai Houser, Gordon Woodworth III, and Robert Hadley. We will see you daily at 8 p.m. But before our show ends for this evening, we have one final story.
And that is to queer up gay culture. Come As You Are, Johnny Nicole Vidal fundraiser, October 9th at Lit Bar to support mental health awareness and suicide prevention. Before our show ends for the evening, we invite you to watch this special interview with Ray Marie, my friend and one amazing badass bitch, the creator of the Come As You Are suicide awareness event this Saturday at Lit Bar. Watch this. And
well, up next, Come As You Are. Tonight we welcome Ray Marie, the creator of a fundraiser in honor of her daughter, Johnny Nicole Vidal, to raise awareness for suicide prevention and mental health issues. It is her goal to not only raise awareness and save lives, but to also erase the stigma attached to mental health issues, substance abuse issues, and suicide. This is a way to not only honor her daughter, but to honor all of those in the LGBTQ community we have lost, and to honor those of us that are survivors and are still fighting every day. So here you have it. Come As You Are. And we welcome tonight Ray Marie. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having me.
I have to start before we dive into the event. Saturday, October 9th. 8 p.m., Lit Bar, Wilton Drive. Everyone's going to be there. But before we talk about it, let's talk about the broad issue here. I have done so many stories that are taboo, it seems, especially in the LGBTQ community, about mental health. And we're coming out of pandemic, hopefully, where mental health has been so challenged, almost unlike my entire lifetime. Tell us a little bit about Johnny and why you got into this focus of mental health.
Johnny Nicole is my third-born child. She sadly took her own life during the pandemic in June of 2020. She was only 25 years old, and
I'm so sorry.
Thank you, I appreciate that. She's missed greatly every day, and I knew I had to do something because it hit just too close to home. And if by doing this and continuing to have these uncomfortable conversations till they become comfortable and normalized, I'm going to do it until my last dying breath, because my purpose here is greater.
Yeah, for parents of LGBTQ plus children, speak to the issue of how it affected you, because I think frequently, while many in our community are suffering mental health issues and they face the stigma of it and admitting it and talking about it, we might forget the parents, that if something tragic like Johnny Nicole's passing, it leaves lasting effect on the people that are left behind. Tell us about how that affected you as parent, and how other parents and family and friends might be affected by something like this.
It definitely leaves a gaping hole, and sadly, there's nothing anyone could say or do. When you're grieving someone to the loss of suicide, it's a different kind of grief. And honestly, I'm shocked that I'm here today, because last year at this time, her first heavenly birthday, I could barely get out of bed and take a shower and brush my teeth and do normal things. And I just want to give people a safe place to say it's okay not to be okay. And easier said than done. Try not to blame ourselves as parents and grandparents and siblings, aunts, uncles, friends, because I could say it logically that, it's not my fault and there's nothing I could have done. But you're going to carry some sense of guilt with you, and that's perfectly normal. But I would say just try to be gentle with yourself, because that's probably the hardest part.
We have national organizations like the Trevor Project that are very involved in this, the National Suicide Hotline. Frequently, our story in LGBT is that we're tough, and we have to be tough because of the broad discrimination we have faced historically since the Stonewall riots in '69. But this is a whole different issue, isn't it, in terms of how LGBT leads to isolation and loneliness, and then the pandemic on top of it becomes a new layer. Any advice to those that would be feeling these kind of feelings, like Johnny Nicole did, that you would recommend to people that are listening to you right now? What kinds of things should they do? Do you recommend? We always say check up on your strong friends, right? I say keep sharing your stories, keep sharing your feelings. Tell people you're not okay, because it's the ones that are suffering in silence that feel like they can't talk to anyone are the ones that we lose. And there's a lot of judgment and stigma and criticism out there, but we're all connected, and this has probably affected more people than they're willing to admit, because of the stigma and the criticism. Surveys show as many as 35% in the LGBTQ community say that they have suffered significant mental health issues in the last 18 months. Well, one of the good notes here, which I'm glad you're here, is the LGBTQ community always seems to, even in the most difficult of subjects, we find ways to try to turn some fun into it. And that's exactly what you've done. This Saturday, local provider here in South Florida, SunServe, in fact, right down the street from the Lit Bar on the famous Wilton Drive, is helping in the organization of your event. It's It's going to be at Lit Bar Saturday, October 9th at 8 p.m. Bubbles and Pearls is one of the sponsors. Remind me who runs that place? I can never remember.
It's at the tip of my tongue. It's,
yeah.
I think it's Josie.
Oh, yeah, Chef Josie and Marcy. Now I remember. And she's going to be playing dual role as her alter ego in terms of DJ Snack Daddy. She's going to be performing at Lit.
That is correct.
Yeah, that's going to be fun. And Carol at Apartment 9F. I just heard right before this interview, she's going to do a performance number. I've never seen her perform before.
Neither have I. It's going to be a great surprise for all of us.
That's right, at Apartment 9F in their sponsorship, and and of course Lit Bar.
Yes.
They're participating in the space. They're doing a special cocktail that I understand 100% of the proceeds come to the event, and it sounds like a lot of fun. And I understand you're already close to your fundraising goals for the event.
We are, thanks to my good buddy Tim Keating. He's my kickball family for Rainbow Sports League, and he's the behind-the-scenes guy making this all happen. And because of his efforts and his connections and his dedication, not only to me but to the cause, he and I have raised almost $4,300 total, and that's thanks to also Lit Bar and Bubbles and Apartment 9, because we had some smaller events to promote the big event.
Yeah.
And it's been fantastic. I truly do love my community.
Yes. And the cover charge is what, $200, $300 on Saturday night?
Maybe $400.
Yeah, right. It's free. So there's lots of in the LGBTQ community that are going to be partying all over the place Saturday night. You come to the Lit Bar and it costs you absolutely nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah, so it's great, and it provides awareness for Johnny Nicole, and it brings focus on mental health issues, and you can party and participate for a great cause, mental health issues. What kinds of things will SunServe and this event help support? Tell us a little about that.
It's going to help support programs and, low cost counseling and therapy, make that more readily available, because I think that's something that we need to work on, not only in our community but around the world. We need to normalize going to therapy, and some of us need antidepressants, and there's no shame in that. And if we can make that more affordable and create programs, maybe we could save more lives.
Yeah, absolutely. It sounds so much fun. And you're doing this for such an amazing cause, mental health and LGBTQ community, for an amazing reason to memorialize and support your daughter who commits suicide in the middle of pandemic, Johnny Nicole Vidal. I understand, for those that are lost, you can never repeat their name enough. You always say it over and over and over again.
Absolutely.
So, Ray Marie, thank you for being with us tonight. One more time, Lit Bar this Saturday, October 9th, 8 p.m. It's going to go through the evening. DJ Snack Daddy, aka Chef Josie from Bubbles and Pearls, Carol from Apartment 9F, and the Lit Bar supporting SunServe and the Mental Health Wellness Initiative. Congratulations to you for taking on such a grassroots effort as this. It speaks so much of the support you have for your daughter.
Yeah.
And it speaks so much for the quality of you, Ray, in terms of what you've done. And it's going to be a mammoth success. It already is.
It is.
And now Saturday night we get to celebrate and bring it really over the top.
Absolutely.
All the best of luck for you, for Come As You Are, this Saturday night at Lit Bar.
Yes.
Thanks for being with us tonight.
Thank you very much for having me, and I can't wait to see all your beautiful faces.
Make sure you come Saturday.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you very much. LGBTQ plus news is vital for our community and for the broader world as a whole. We have enough enemies at Fox News. Tucker, Sean, and Lara are loud. We need passionate allies. Happening Out television network, Queer News Tonight, and It's Happening Out are literally out of the closet and into the headlines. Our community needs your support. Like this broadcast and subscribe now to ensure